So here's a quick disclaimer as to why there is the word duct tape in a title for a Pokemon playthrough. Have you ever had that moment where you return to a save game for Pokemon and it says it cannot find the file, or your save game has completely disappeared for some reason? Well, this is exactly that. I returned to my Pokemon Silver save game to find out that over 155 hours of saved footage was gone. So what I decided to do was I grabbed a fresh battery, I unscrewed the casing for my game, and I replaced the battery, strapping it in place with some duct tape. Hence, the duct tape playthrough. Because I'm going to play all of this all over again, so I can get a new main save game from which to trade Pokemon and items and such. That's the plan. So if you're up for that, and you're up for a somewhat casual playthrough to just build a main team and collect some items, then join me for this one. So at the start of this episode 4, we've just cleared the Whitney badge, and we're going to go for some XP. My main focus for XP at this moment is the Ghastly, Giggles, but also the Machop that I used during the last gym fight. I kind of enjoyed using it, and I'm planning on getting some quick evolutions, maybe even an early Machamp evolution, if the situation allows it. And so, yeah, that's what we're going for. In the meantime, Hypnosis misses, and we're getting trolled by Roar. I'm laughing about it now, but when I was playing, this was kind of annoying me. The NPC constantly using Roar. Not so much the fact that I wouldn't be able to beat it, but more just it splits up the XP every time you get a different Pokemon, right? And so that's not what I was really after. So, are there any new additions to the team, you might ask? Well, you could say that. The first new addition, in fact, is Togepi. And then I run into a Ditto. And trust me when I say this, people, whenever you're playing Gen 2 and you run into a Ditto, just catch it. It doesn't matter if you're going to use it on your team, just try whatever you can and catch it, because you're going to use it for something eventually, trust me. But, yeah, this Ditto is somewhat defiant, as you will see soon enough. It's broken out of the first Pokeball, and spoiler, it's gonna break out of a couple more. I try with all my might not to kill it and to just chuck Pokeballs at it, but unfortunately, it decides to go harakiri on me and suicides itself, so to speak, with Curse. Which is very unfortunate. I have another great opportunity, which is to catch an Abra, but we know how Abra works, right? My Hypnosis misses, and so it teleports and escapes. So, on to Sudowoodo. Perhaps I have more luck with the imitation bonsai tree. But attempt number 1 ends in multiple Pokeball and Great Balls being used, and Curse taking out the tree. And during my second attempt, apparently I have learned nothing from using Curse, because once again, it's gonna take out the bonsai tree. And at attempt number 3, after about 4 or 5 arg that was so close to's or almost had its, I finally lose my patience, and I decide to just go for Curse and kill the Sudowoodo. Not my finest moment, but I wanted to move on after 3 attempts. So, did you add any new additions at all to the team? Yeah, I ran into a Farfetch'd. Oh, and Machop evolved. And so does Giggles the Ghastly. And for the next evolution, I thought it would be cool to have a Machamp before we fight Morty and his ghost Pokemon. This is gonna sound illogical, of course, taking a fighting type to a ghost type gym, but I'll explain some more about that later. For now, I think it's just cool to have Machamp on the team. And I could have done the same for Haunter, a trait evolution, but I wanted to wait until level 31 for it to learn Confuse Ray. And I'll explain some more about that later. So, let's show you guys the rival fight, so I can show you some test runs of the strategies that I want to use against Morty and his ghost Pokemon. And one of the first things I want to do against Morty is we're gonna start karate chopping ghosts. That's right, karate chopping ghosts. But to do so, we need to use Foresight first. And so we're testing that strategy right now with a Foresight on D-Bag's Haunter. And then following it up with a Karate Chop. And now it's time to switch into Giggles the Haunter and to test the gimmicky strategy I have for her. As you can see, Attract is on this moveset, which is a move most people never really use. But I'm going to try and use it. I kind of mirrored Karen's Umbreon from Pokemon Stadium 2, which has Attract and Confuse Ray, and that's why I want to level the Haunter to level 31 first, and then trade her to become a Gengar, because we can use a really trolly Attract Confuse Ray set, and then maybe play around with Nightshade and Curse. That's the plan. But first we need to get Confused Ray, of course, so we're just going to test half that strategy against this Zubat. Already that strategy is showing a slight flaw or a few small holes, but we're going to stick with it for a while just to see what we can do with it. Now it's back to an old gimmick of mine. The Glare Headbutt combo on Dunsparce. I won't be using it against Morty because Headbutt can't hit ghosts, but we're using it here to try and beat this Croconaw. Unfortunately, a bunch of glares have already missed. Now the third glare comes in and that hits, but that still means I need to catch up on damage taken, which we're going to try and do with a slew of headbutts right now. The last obstacle on D-Bag's team is Magnemite. I'm trying to get Glare off again. And first time fails, second time's the charm. But now Sonic Boom picks up the KO. The big advantage is, of course, I can send in my Quilava, go for a fire move, and one or two of those should be sufficient to pick up the win. Okay, so let's move on to the gym fight. I've got my Foresight Karate Chop Machamp, I've got my Attract Haunter, and I've got Quilava with Dig just in case. So here we go, 3 interesting, slightly different ways of fighting from what we're probably used to, and I'm ready to have some fun with it. Okay, let's see if the laws of attraction are on our side. Looks like I only needed Nightshade there. Okay, this is a nice moment to try some Machamp action. Of course, a good thing to note is that Haunter has good speed, so most of these Pokemon will outspeed Machamp. course, that doesn't make it any less satisfying if you karate chop a ghost in the face and it just goes down. With Gengar, I'm a bit worried though, because it's faster, it has Hypnosis and Dream Eater. I know that from past experience. And so I wanted to go with potentially my fastest Pokemon in the hopes of staying ahead of falling asleep. And as you can see, Gengar is still faster, so I'm going to try a Smoke Screen, maybe to get that Hypnosis accuracy down even more. It doesn't work. So I'm looking at a way to predict Dream Eater, get a free switch. The only issue here is, even though that does work, I can only glare this thing, and it says it doesn't affect Gengar, so I guess I've learned something new. So we switch again, and even Farfetch'd gets some action. There we go, free switch because of Dream Eater. I'm going for Sand Attack, I think, to cheese out the Hypnosis. There is the mean look, though, so if it goes for Curse, we're kinda stuck. I'm gonna eventually have to use Peck. And Dux, the Farfetch'd, is at level 16, so it's kind of under-leveled. Yeah, there is the Hypnosis, even with all the accuracy reduction. So we're just gonna let it faint, unfortunately. Second chance for Attract, and now with that accuracy drop being big on the Hypnosis, I'm hoping to stay ahead a little bit. Seems like Giggles is also faster than this Gengar, of which I'm kind of proud, although that might also be badge boost because Whitney's gives extra speed, at least according to Google. We'll go for a Nightshade, which will do about 25 damage. Fixed damage, so that's good. And the first successful Attract there, yay, let's go. One more Nightshade, and this is a win for Giggles. Good job. Next up is Haunter vs. Haunter. And this is where I want Confuse Ray in the future, so there's a chance to get confused, a chance to get infatuated. Even though this infatuation works, eventually the other Haunter's gonna get the upper hand. This is going to get slightly dicey, you might think, because 30 HP left, and I need the Foresight, but I know that Nightshade is going to deal 23 damage at the time, so with just 7 HP left, Machamp takes the badge, and that is game. And that is also game for today, because you've seen me play from right after Whitney until Aquatique City. You've seen me fight the rival, you've seen me fight for the Aquatique City badge. You haven't seen me fight all the trainers on the route next to Aquatique City. You haven't seen me fight the Kimono Girls, but guess what? That's where all the XP comes from. So quite a bit of work has been done, and more work will be done during the next episode, for which I will hope you will join me soon. Thanks for watching, and see you again soon.